Is doing well. In this video we gonna start building a full stack application using Angular and NgRx. So recently Angular have released their standalone component where you can use a single component to be used with standalone, and also integration with NgRx on RxJS is kind of different than what we used to do because of how we can use a single standalone component to be used in multiple places instead of uh, using a module, as well as configuring the store and actions and everything in NGRX is little different than it used to be. And at the same time, I believe with this video you will be able to understand how the HTTP concept works, as well as Angular form, router resolver, and all the stuff. So if you are interested learning a very in-depth Angular, this course is for you. So this is a demo of this application. I have a home page, as well as I have a post where I can see the list of data, and I can create a new one. For example, a new post one, and I can create a body, whatever. And if I create one, you'll see that I have this new post. I can edit it and update, and I have this update already. So here is update. So also I should be able to delete it as well. If I click on delete, you'll see that it getting deleted automatically. And this is a Angular material table. So in this course we're going to learn about how to do integration with Angular material as well, which is pretty useful as a starter, and with the pagination as well, like how many items we want to see. Currently we don't have a lot of items, so 5 items max, but if we add more item, assuming so let's create some more item. Now currently is 5, we can shoot 10 or whatever, so based on that we can decide, but this is not yet configured. So at the same time, what we can do also is we can see the all the operation that we are doing. For example, every time we load a post, we see in a store all the posts in the Redux component, and whenever we load the initial load, for example, we will be able to see our initial load also, all the posts. So I guess this is the demo. So how do we start it, right? For starting, what we're gonna do, we're gonna create a new applications. By the way, I have a backend application running in Rails server, where if you see in the back, whenever we're running, we could get all this localhost 3001, all the stuff, we could get all the data, right? So it's just nothing but it's just a to-do application running. So if you need that, I can explain, but assuming you have a REST API connected with your application. So let's get started. What I'm gonna do, first thing first, is I'm gonna open a terminal where I can create this app. So this is the fresh terminal, and then I'm gonna create the app, right? So to generate application in Angular, you can either use the Angular CLI or copy a project from someone who have done it. Now the best way to do it is just use the CLI. So we have the new Angular website. which is this. And I believe this is nice in terms of how we can navigate all those websites, as well as it looks pretty cool. I mean, I really liked it, the new website. Um, so let's try with the ng new. uh, mm, I can give it like post app. So this way it's gonna create a new app, right? Now we can say we're gonna use SCSS, server-side rendering, and no, and it will gonna create. Meanwhile, when I'm explaining, I will gonna explain how the Rails application working. So it's nothing but is standard basic Rails applications. So if I go to my app, I can say to do app, and this is how it looks like. So this is how the Rails application looks like. There is nothing special. A standard Rail application that has a controller and that returns some data in a JSON format. So if I run it, and if I say 3000 slash posts, you see I can get all the posts, and if I call by the ID slash 9, I get one post. I also have option to delete by a ID or update by ID. So those are the basic application here. Now for us, assuming that we have this already running and we have our Angular app here that we just created, we're gonna move to post app, and we're gonna open this application in our code editor. So while we are opening, so let's start the application. So what we had is text, and while the application is opening, we can start the server running, and this is the app. So initially Angular give us just basic structure, a app component. Remember previously we used to have app module, so now in Angular 7 they don't give it, just make it a standalone component, which is different than it used to be. And we have the application.html. I'm gonna go ahead and remove everything and just use a h1 tag, my app component. I don't need all of this CSS, so whatever it is, and let's see. Our application is already started. If I open my application on 42004, you'll see the application is already running. So next thing is, what we need is we need to be able to set up all the routes, right? We have a list, as well as we have edit mode, and as well as add mode, right? So to do that, what we can do, we can leverage the Angular CLI, where we can add all the pages we can think of. Now I want to try something different. I could just add all the component here and add it, um, but let's try to create a module for that. Why I'm thinking of creating that is because Angular has something called lazy loading. So instead of like at the initial load, you want to, instead of loading all the component, what you could do is do the lazy loading, as well as have a child route. So it's easier to handle each of the component rather than have it everything in here. So I gonna do is in generate a module is post. Now you're gonna see that I have a post directory here. This next thing is I need to be able to generate a service. Or I need a service because I want to call my backend, right? So that required a service, but we can generate it later. First thing is we need to be able to run our all the pages, so we can do whatever we need, right? So um, for that, I know that I need a list component, a layout component, where I have the layout on whatever I need on the whenever I go to post page, as well as I need the edit and add, right? So I'm gonna use the CLI again in the generate component. Let's do edit, maybe post edit. So I have the post edit, um, uh, and then post list, and we can do layout, and we can do new. um, let's explain why we have all of these. Remember, if we you want to use any child route, we need to be able to have a centralized place where you can do everything on that post only. So how it gonna work is like we can say whenever we in the standard page, like when you don't have anything, for example like this, we're gonna have component. Let's just generate another one as a home. So this will be home component. Now what if we go to post? What we want to do is we want to load the children. So what we're gonna do is load children, and then we're gonna say import post module, and then we have the module. We're gonna say m dot post module. So what it is doing is every time we go to slash post, it gonna try to load this module. Now we don't have anything yet. If we go back to our app, for example, let's put this in here. Now it doesn't load anything. If you see in the console, this is the app component. Now why is it doing it? Because to support the routing, you need the router outlet. Now we could do h1. This is footer. So anything in the router outlet, whatever we go, will be here, right? So let's try it out. So this is home and this is the footer. Now we want to go to post page, right? So to do that, let's add a nav. We're gonna say we're gonna say it will be home, so slash, and then that's it. It will be home. Now next one is going to the posts. Now let's see what it open. Now we have home, but when we go to post, I don't have anything, right? It's because though I am trying to load that, you see, it doesn't have any content. But when I load the post, I want to be able to load all the posts, right? So for that, I need another routing in my post. So in the module, either I could define the routes that we need, or I could just create the route what I need, right? So for that, what I'm gonna do is create the route. So I can do post slash new or post slash add. That way is easier for us to handle. So to do that, let's import the post module, which will be something like this. Router module dot for child, because it's a child module and it will accept an array. Now first thing is what we want is whenever the path is something like this, we want to be able to set a component. Now initially, whenever think about a layout, it will be the first one, right? So we're gonna say component equal to post layout component. Now let's go back. What happened? Now whenever in the post, you see we have the layout. Now again, for the post, it shouldn't go to only post, it should go to list, because what happened in standard page, right, it needs to go to list. So for that we can do a children for this thing. Now remember, for the children, first we need to define the path. What happened whenever is nothing, what we want is we want it to be go to list path, right? And so for that, either we can use redirect, or we just can say component post list. Now you'll see that the list is still not loading. You see post layout is the one loading. It's because we need another router outlet inside the post layout. Now if this is the post layout works, this will be our center. We want another header. So this is my post layout. Whatever we do, header, and assuming this is my post layout footer, and I want to be able to load all the add or init or whatever is here, so I will just set another outlet here. Now you'll see that whenever I load the post, I have the layout already. So this is already add. And in that case, whenever I'm in the post list, I can create a new or do something, right? So I can do a link. I can do add post, and then for that to be handled, I could do add post add post new, sorry. So now you see that inside my post I have a add button. Now whenever I click, you'll see that new is working, but whenever I post, it's a list and home. So I have all the nested route set up. Okay, now for edit and delete, we're gonna have a list of posts, and if we click, we can go to the edit button, right? So let's define the route here already. So what we're gonna do is, let's say id slash edit, we're gonna say post edit component. And for delete, we don't need a component because it's just gonna be pattern, so we don't need anything. So that's all we have to do. We don't need edit also because it is already unique. Now we don't have this link yet, but we're gonna be able to define it. For example, if instead of add we say 3 4, you see this edit works. If we say add, it's new. So this is all our routing is set. So we're gonna commit it. We're gonna say setup routes. So in that way, we will have the route. The last thing on this video before we go to next step on NgRx, we're gonna do is we're gonna redefine this UI a bit nicer so it looks better. So for that, what we can do is remove some of the things that we don't need. That for example, I don't need this app component. When I go to home, I want just a small text or something. So for that, let's just remove it. This or just mainly for us to understand things. And here I want a navbar. We're gonna do it later, so that is gone. Now also for the post, I don't need this header and this footer. Let's go to layout. We're gonna remove this. We're gonna add rest of the header and footer later whenever we're gonna work on that. So this is the thing. So we have home, post, and add post. And we're gonna commit again. And that's it. In the next video, we're gonna learn about how to use the NgRx and all those concepts and adding material design, all this stuff. So see you there.